I mean, right now in this economy, most people don't have an extra $1,000 to cover.
Well, that's the crazy part, right? And that's what I was going to say is in some areas of the country, like the average roof expectancy that these guys were talking about is 7 years. They were talking about using financing for insurance when they have, if we look at it one way, if your deductible's 50% of your roof cost, your roof is 50% up, right? Like that's a good deal.
Yeah.
But as these manufacturers keep raising these prices higher and higher and higher, sure, we can finance them the other half. All right, so we made a really quick setup out of the blue, and I wanted to ask you guys some questions. I need some feedback of where your head's at. So yesterday we had a really high-level Zoom meeting with some of the industry leaders in our country, as far as in the roofing world and insurance especially. Some of these guys and girls do 300+ million a year in multiple locations, right? And one of the topics that came up was the whole insurance. Like, where is it going? Where are the policies going? Where's coverage going? Are these insurance companies leaving certain areas? What does it look like next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And how is it really going to affect our industry and the way that we do things? So we'll share a little bit about like what we heard and the way we interpreted it, but I really want this video to be more of like, hey, let's get together and let's talk about this and like how we're going to work together to get through, whatever's coming our way. Of course, nobody knows until, typically you'll get something new on a policy when you knock a door or you get an estimate back and like, oh, I've never seen this before. This is something new. So I'm assuming that's how most of this is going to come about. But hearing different people's perspective on a super high level yesterday was, it was enlightening. It was a little scary, right?
It was very scary.
Yeah. So,
to be honest.
Yeah. So, what we were looking at is, where is this going? So we all know that, ACV policies are becoming more of a thing. Percentage of deductibles versus, around here 2 years ago, it was $500, $1,000 deductibles were normal.
Yep.
And this year, what are we seeing differently this year?
So since I've been in the industry, I've always heard things every single year that, insurance is going to change to this, it's going to get harder, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I've heard it every single year. This is the first year that I've actually seen changes, and yeah, it's a little bit scary. Just like Eric just said, we've always had fixed rate deductibles, 500 to 1,000, to where now we're seeing percentage deductibles, so 1 or 2% of the total value the home is insured for. Cosmetic exclusions, so they're not paying for any soft metal damage that isn't functional. ACV only policies, 180 days after the release of the ACV funds to get the work done. A whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So I've been hearing it, but now it is getting a little scary as far as actually seeing these changes. And then now we're hearing insurance companies might do separate policies for your roof completely.
Hail and wind, right?
They might not cover your roof at all.
Yeah, like we own a house together. We Airbnb in Florida, and in Florida, what is it, like the sinkhole coverage, the termite coverage, right? That all that stuff's optional, right? Like you can get it or you can not get it.
Yep.
And from what I heard yesterday is a lot of people are predicting that that's how hail and wind claims are going to be, where, hey, you got your homeowner's insurance policy covering fire and whatever else, but you have this separate policy if you want it, if you want to pay more, and if your agent actually talks about it, right?
Exactly.
That's the other part is, even with these high deductibles, when we find these people that have these high deductibles, we tell them, and they're like, oh, I didn't know I had that.
No idea.
So now you're going to be knocking doors looking for people that have a rider on their policy, just like a mold rider, right?
Yep.
From the way I understand it, is they have a hail and wind rider.
Exactly. And yeah, your agent, generally when people are getting their quotes for homeowners insurance, they are fixated on just getting the house. They don't care what's in the policy.
Sure.
They generally just want the lowest number they can possibly get.
Sure.
So in the background, the agents are making changes to your policy, and for the most part, they don't even tell the people what it is. All they want to see is my premium.
What's the premium?
I just dropped $500 off your premium. The homeowner's excited. But then when they have a loss and the adjuster comes out, that's when they figure out they don't have coverage. Yeah. Then they're upset. Then they call the agent and they're like, hey, I don't have coverage. Well, you don't. Remember when we were trying to figure out how to drop rates or, save money here? Well, that's how we did it.
Yeah.
So that is the scary part, is if they're going to exclude these things completely off of your policy, are they even going to be explaining this to the homeowner, before they sign their policy?
Yeah.
In my opinion, they probably won't.
Yeah, it's just crazy. There's a lot of unknowns.
There's also and I've kind of seen this, and we heard about this in Florida. Obviously, the last couple of years they've taken a big hit because increasing storms, the increasing amount of losses, and like I said last time we talked, every time you turn the corner, I'm like, seriously, every single day I'm hearing a new insurance contractor name. Oh, well, this guy came to my house. I've never even heard of that guy. Every day, the insurance companies are taking a huge loss now in the last couple of years, especially with the hurricanes that just happened in the Carolinas and Florida, to where they're going to tighten up and or whatever they're going to do, drop coverage. They simply might just raise your premiums even higher. I don't know. But then once they recuperate those losses, they'll generally always go back to previous policies. Yeah. Once again, nobody's going to be informed of this. So, what are we going to do in this time where potentially the industry might go away as a whole, or everything's going to be so tightened up as far as there's going to be a huge out-of-pocket expense for every homeowner. And I mean, right now in this economy, most people don't have an extra $1,000 to cover.
Well, that's the crazy part, right? And that's what I was going to say is in some areas of the country, like the average roof expectancy these guys were talking about is 7 years. So they were talking about using financing for insurance when they have, hey, if we look at it one way, if your deductible's 50% of your roof costs, your roof is 50% off, right? Like that's a good deal.
Yeah.
So, but as these manufacturers keep raising these prices higher and higher and higher, sure, we can finance them the other half, right? If they don't have it, we can finance them 50%. But what happens in 6 or 7 years, if the average roof expectancy because of storms is 7 years old, we finance somebody at a 10-year rate, right? And then in 6 years, there's another loss. At what point is this whole roofing game unaffordable?
Right.
Because like you said, with the hurricanes coming in through Florida, the Carolinas, all these storms happening, damn well the manufacturers are going to slow down production so that they can raise the prices.
Exactly.
And at the same time, the insurance companies are lowering coverage, right, and the amount that they're paying for. So that means it only affects the homeowner in the end, where the homeowner's going to have to pay more money. And at what point is it just unaffordable to purchase these roofs? I mean, these are the conversations we were having in this Zoom yesterday, and I was just like, man, like this is a different level of stuff, and it's not. This is a different level of stuff, and it's not that like, oh, it's scary, right? Because we're going to adapt to any situation, and
right.
Whenever any animal's cornered, they're going to find their way out. But it's something beyond the normal discussions of leads or marketing or slow economy. Like this is a little bit higher level stuff. So I wanted to take it to YouTube and kind of just like see what you guys think.
Yeah. How are you guys preparing for these changes, or what
changes are you seeing?
What changes are you hearing about, or professionals that are in the actual insurance industry?
Yeah.
Which we know a lot of people,
but nobody knows for sure.
Nobody knows for sure.
It's all speculation.
Yeah.
What was that guy saying yesterday? One of the guys was saying something about Nationwide, that they were just completely not covering anything wind and hail anymore, where they heard something that they're just not going to cover, wind and hail to roofs anymore, where it's just going to be an out-of-pocket expense to the homeowner.
Yeah. There was a couple people in that Zoom that previously worked for Farmers or Nationwide and stuff like that, to where, that was one of the things they were hearing, is just literally no coverage. Yeah. The other one was, he was hearing 24 hits per test square, whole bunch of craziness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's uncertain right now, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but here in Michigan, even the lead intake, because, since the election and debates and stuff's gone on, I mean, everybody's kind of on edge as far as like buying and purchasing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still moving along, but we're definitely not we crushed it this year up until like September, right? And then it kind of slowed down as far as the lead intake. We have backlog and all that, but I wanted to see how you guys are doing and how this stuff's affecting new leads coming in,
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had much rain here in September and October either, and it's actually, until this week, it's been like 80. So I'm sure that has a little bit to do with it. But overall, I just wanted to see what everybody thought about those topics.
Yeah. Let us know your feedback.
Yeah.